Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. As promised, I today will give you an update on the coral farm. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to someone. This, if you've been watching the live streams or if you follow me on Instagram, is Work Experience Guy.
Hello.
So, Work Experience Guy, would you like to tell everyone your real name?
My real name is actually Sam.
Sam? See, the reason I didn't say your real name was because people will hunt you down. Women will find you so that they can throw their knickers at you. That is why I didn't give people... If you want to release it, that's up to you. Now, he has a girlfriend, okay, so you stay away. Tell everyone a little bit about why you're here and what you're doing and how this came to be.
At the moment, I'm studying a course at uni that is pretty much everything to do with aquaculture, which is the farming of fish, corals and whatnot. And as part of the course, got to do work experience that's industry relevant. What better place to come than a coral farm? Yeah. And there's not many places like this in the UK, if any at all, so why not?
And how has it been?
It's actually been really enjoyable. I mean...
Who does the shit jobs?
I was going to say, Ryan does all the shit jobs.
There you go, see?
You know, I've been doing lots of fragging, catching some fish, the tang the other week.
Oh, shh! Spoiler alert!
Sorry.
We not showed them that. We'll show them that in a minute. I will be completely honest with you, Sam is not the average person. So, Sam contacted me and said, I think in the original email, it was very, very nice, and went, look, you probably won't want this, but just on the off chance that you might say yes, would you be okay with me coming and helping out? And I'll be completely honest with you, originally, and Sam doesn't know this, I went, hell no. I don't want to have some random stranger in here playing with my corals. What happened was, I then called him, and we had a chat on FaceTime, and he's very knowledgeable. I think you've got like 7 tanks, haven't you?
Yeah, 7 tanks.
Yeah, but like how many freshwater ones?
5.
5 freshwater ones, so it doesn't really count. It's not really 7 tanks. He basically has 2 tanks and 5 inconveniences. Right, so as I said, I'm going to give you an update on the farm, so I will show you some of the interesting stuff that happened. As Sam mentioned a minute ago, we had an issue with a problematic fish last week, which I filmed, so that footage is actually from last week, but I thought he's just too new to put the camera on him. But actually, to be honest, you seem like a bloody natural, so I thought you were better than me. He's going to start a channel called The Work Experience Guy, or The Work Experience Reefer. Yeah, so you'll see it coming. For those of you who haven't seen it, there is a show called Aqua Age, or Aqua, which is AQUAH, which is essentially going to be the Reeferpalooza or Macna of the UK. So we have been asking for ages to have some sort of show here. And obviously it's not happened until now. Now it is in September, and although the people who follow the live stream and the Instagram will know that I am attending, not just attending, I am going to be there with a stand and with corals, so you'll be able to buy my corals in person. Now is the time to buy the tickets. The show is 100% definitely happening. I'm going to be there. There's, I think, 13 other coral sellers. Red Sea, Ecotech or D&D are going to be there. So it's not a small show. This is a massive... It's like in an aircraft hangar. That's how big the room is. As UK reefers, we need to get behind this, book our tickets. I actually tried to book a hotel at the venue, which is now sold out. So if you want to go and you're thinking about it, now's the time. Because if you want to stay in a hotel, you won't have a choice soon. What we're doing is we are fragging corals for that show in 3 months' time. So I think it's on the 21st and 22nd of September. Obviously, corals take a little while to grow, so Sam has been helping me prepare everything, and I'll show you around. Before we get to that, however, I will show you the troublesome vampire tang that we had to catch last week. Right now, I've come into the farm with quite a predicament today. So in this tank, there has always been a Sohol tang, a convict tang, and a vampire tang. Somehow, the vampire tang is down here. I'm not entirely sure how that's possible, because let me take you on the route that the vampire tang had to get on to get down there. So firstly, it has to get out of this net. Now there is a possibility that it might have happened yesterday, because the net was off yesterday because of fragging. That's the first step. So after getting off the net, let's assume that it got through while it was off yesterday. It has to go down the overflow pipe down here. Now the overflow pipe runs all the way along here into this box here. So it's come down one of these tubes. It has then gone over the filter media. There is no like section down there that it can get through. So it must have gone up and over the filter media to get to this compartment here, because obviously this is egg crate, so it can't slip through the egg crate. It's then gone over that section there into this box here, where it then runs underneath the floor and through these pipes into this tank. How the hell has it done that? And more importantly, how am I going to get this out? Because that is not going to be easy, because the access is literally like nothing. So my hope is that it will go back into the pipe, which I've seen it do a couple of times. I can then turn one of these valves and it will then swim back that way, and I can get it out of the box, hopefully. Now I had another theory. The big Soho tang, which you can see in the background, will very occasionally chase some of the other fish. It's usually as good as gold, it hardly ever is aggressive towards anything. But there's a possibility that what's happened is he's chased the vampire tang. The vampire tang, with this being off, has then jumped out of here and then somehow landed down here, and then has jumped into here from there, basically, is my only other theory. I'm not sure which one is more likely. What I'm going to do is I've got a spare one of those big valves. I'm going to see if it's even possible for a fish to fit through there. Although, if I'm honest, it's kind of irrelevant at this stage, because I'm going to have to deal with it one way or another. The worst that happens is I can completely drain this tank, and then obviously time is not on my side, and I can try and sort of get a net and scoop it out. That's probably the best, like, most likely way of catching it easily, but the most stress on the fish. Right, now I've decided on a plan of action. I wish I'd picked a day where the floor wasn't so dirty, but what I'm going to do, the tang is currently inside this valve here. Now it's not like under the floor, it's literally just in the like the top bit of it here. So if I put a net in front of that and then drain the water down to literally nothing, the water movement of being drained out will force the fish out of this into the net, and I can literally just scoop it out. I can just grab the net and take it out in one go. The problem is I only have one chance to do this, and if I've got it wrong, then it is likely to kill the fish, because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it. Let's put it this way, if it doesn't come out of this tube, I'm not going to be able to get it out. It's as simple as that. It is a high risk strategy, but when you have literally like no room I can't even get my phone in there. There's not a lot that I can do to get this done, basically. Wish me luck. Right, now we've actually hit a slight different problem, because now the tang won't go back into the valve, which means what I'm doing, as you can see, the water is draining down, and my plan is to give it just enough water to swim around, so that obviously it'll be moving constantly, and hopefully I'll be able to grab it then. But we still obviously have the same issue where this is a one chance thing to do. Right, now just quickly, as you can see, it actually amazingly worked. And I think I'm going to put it into this tank over here. So, right, now it's a week later again, and I'll be completely honest with you, putting the tang in that tank right there was an absolutely terrible idea, because the bristle-tooth tang immediately attacked it. I thought it would be okay in there. I'll be honest with you, I made a snap judgment, and it was a mistake. I didn't want to put it back in with the big Soho tang, just in case that was the original problem, but also because the two fish have been separate for a period of time, I didn't know if they would recognize each other, or if there would be it would consider a new fish, and then it would be a much bigger problem. It turns out, in the end, it was a much bigger problem in the other tank, and then it was also a much bigger problem in the next tank that I moved into, which was this one down here, for exactly the same reason. I have two, they're actually orange striped tangs. They're mostly brown, they're orange striped when they're juveniles, which is where they get their name, but what I will say is they are absolute bastards. So in the end, I actually put it into an acclimation box in both, in the second tank, and that didn't work either. So eventually I put it in an acclimation box with the Soho tang, and interestingly enough, it was completely fine. So, so it's back in there, and you can actually see it. There, it's just behind the Soho tang, right here somewhere. It's hard to point at things on a camera because it's backwards. Anyway, so I will go through now with what we've done. Right, so this tank by the door is probably the best place to start. Those of you that follow the channel regularly will know that it's usually got quite a lot of green star polyps, pink star polyps, yellow polyps. So what I've done is I've basically stripped down, taken out most of the rock work and any sort of detritus. Also, I moved the regal tank in here because someone is buying it. I'm actually selling a lot of my fish. Anything that doesn't do a job doesn't get to stay. Luckily, Sam currently does a job, which means he gets to stay. He's not for sale. Right, now with regards to what we're doing, we're trying to get these racks under control. This tray and the one above it hasn't actually been touched yet. And the reason it's not been touched is because I wanted to reseal the tank connection there. Now obviously with the trays being off for essentially 8 hours, I didn't want lots of corals being fragged because they produce a lot of slime. I just wanted to make things as easy as possible, and that's why I told Sam just to leave these tray alone. But you can see some of these colonies now are absolutely massive. Pretty much everything that you see here will be at the show. It's not about bringing, for me, the fanciest stuff. It's about bringing stuff for everyone. I love this Pectinia. I've had this Pectinia for so long, and the reason I've had it for so long is because I'm too frightened to frag it. But my plan is to frag it within the next couple of days, and because then I can have pieces for the show, because I think it'll be too expensive to sell as one piece. A little look at the close look at the vampire tang, which you can see is doing well. It's getting on with the Soho tang now. Moving around here, we have some Goniopora. Here's a couple of other very, very popular Monteporas, which will be being fragged up soon, as well as this grafted Montepora. I've actually got a few people already who are asking for frags of this to be brought to the show. Interestingly, and I don't know if it will do it while I'm here, I've turned the flow off for the video. The powder blue tang hates the flow being off. It's so weird, because every time I turn the flow off, it starts attacking the power head. And I have no idea why it's doing that, but it does. This is another tank which has been stripped down. This tank is where the majority of the detritus for the entirety of System 2 seems to build up, so, which is interesting because until I stripped it down, I didn't notice, and you can see it's starting to build up again already. I'm not sure why it collects in this tank, but it's not that difficult to strip it down, so I'll probably be doing that more regularly now. Moving on to this system, you can see that Sam has done the red chalice. Some of these corals are already ready to go. A lot of these are already on the website. Interestingly enough, when people come to the farm, they often say I have a lot more corals in the farm than what's on the website, and I just don't think that's true. I absolutely love these fungias at the moment. My favourite one is this one. I've never seen a fungia which is 3 different colours, so obviously you can see that it's green, orange and purple. So I want to take this coral to the show, but now that I've shown it on a video, it is almost certainly gonna sell out, because that usually is what happens. Another coral which I've never ever fragged is this one, which I will be bringing to the show. People have been asking me to frag this for ages. Well, I think the reason I've not got around to it is because it's actually growing on a piece of Carib Sea's life rock, and that is really, really hard, and it destroys my saw basically every single time that I use it. There'll be plenty of Cephastras there. We just done a couple of cabbage corals. We have also fragged bounce mushrooms for the show. So obviously we've got the sun-kissed bounce mushroom, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment, not ready to go, but they'll be ready. And this little tiny one here is also a sun-kissed bounce mushroom. And then so far I've got 4 Frankenstein bounce mushrooms, but these were only fragged literally today, so they're still in the healing process. I also hope to have this OG bounce mushroom ready by the time. These are my little mushroom frag pots. So it's very, very small at the moment, but I'm feeding it, and hopefully that by the time of the show it'll be much bigger. I'm not sure if I'll sell it, but most people haven't seen an OG mushroom, and I'll be honest with you, some of the corals I'm taking literally are not even going to be selling. It's just to so it's interesting for people to see. I'm also considering taking some bubble tip anemones, just because these are always really, really popular, and I've had a couple that have escaped, and because they've escaped, then they're probably easy to get. The final thing to show you is not the Zoa tray, because we, as always, have ignored the Zoa tray because I hate it, but I will be definitely bringing Zoas, and these are all going to be fragged up within the next few days, is the top tray. And although most of the top tray is relatively similar to usual, you can see some of these frags have literally just been done within the last sort of couple of hours. There is one very, very exciting coral, probably my favourite coral in the farm at the moment, which I'll take you over now. Right, now the coral I just mentioned is not, as my new favourite coral in the farm, is not in fact this really, really bright torch coral. It is in fact a far more subtly coloured coral, which is this blue Catulophilia. Now, Catulophilias, most people will know, are usually green, like this one here, but this one is in fact blue, and this one's sort of blue with pink tips, and then this is a blue one with sort of like more like a beigey coloured tips. Now these actually aren't for sale. Every so often I have a coral which I like to keep, tempt you with, but won't actually sell to anyone. And this coral is the perfect example of one of those corals, because this is not for sale. Right, now that is it, I think, for the update for the coral farm. Have you got anything else to share?
Not particularly. I think that's everything that we've done so far. But yeah, a hell of a lot of fragging got done.
Yes, true. Far more than usual, I'll be honest. I will be completely honest with you. This is for his future employers. Sam has been absolutely brilliant, and I genuinely mean that. And I don't think people show appreciation to each other enough these days. I've already told Sam that you can sort of pick some corals. No, he's not allowed to pick you're not going to take the blue Catlephilia, are you?
What about the gold?
What about the gold? What, the gold torch? Yeah, I bet that's what you want. So I've already told Sam they can pick. You actually took some pieces last week, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I've said you can have some more this week. Anyway, this is a reference that you can put on your CV. Yeah, yeah, and you'll probably see him in more videos. All right, I'm going to take you in the house quick, and yeah, so you can say goodbye now.
Goodbye for now.
Right, now finally a very quick update on the water box. This is the last time you are going to see this tank empty, because on Sunday quarantine ends finally. So and on Monday they'll be back in there. So what I'm doing today is I'm slowly but surely preparing everything, just make sure everything's nice and clean. Slight problem, dropped my UV sterilizer into the tank, which is not ideal. I don't know if it's damaged, if it's properly damaged or not. I'm going to take it apart to see. It went in like probably an inch. Not ideal, but exciting. It's exciting because this is moving forward. But anyway, that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, why not click that like and subscribe. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time.